Welcome to A Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Feast for Crows, chapters 31 and 32, Brienne and Cersei. In these chapters, Brienne gets therapy and Cersei demonstrates for us the very much need for therapy. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. So, Harmit, who died in these chapters?
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second.
One.
Well, the Hound.
Why do you say it? Hound?
Because, we already thought, he was dead, but now we know he's, dead.
So, confirmation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important. We count those.
Yeah, okay. Is that the one you were glaring at me about?
Yeah.
Or is that, okay. Just making sure, because I was like, I don't remember any major deaths, and you're glaring, so...
And there was another death in Cersei's.
Okay, wait, let me think. Yeah. Cersei's, person who Bronn killed.
Yeah. Sir...
His name also started with a B.
Balman?
Something like that.
Something.
His name also started with a B, and during that page, I just got lost. Because I was like, there's too many. And it was a 5-letter name, too. Or something like that. So I was like, this is too much.
A B! Okay, back to this. So...
oh my god, sorry. Jonathan Bailey. That is the name I want to invoke before we start this. My king! Oh my god. Anyway, sorry, continue. Can you tell I just watched Wicked 5 days ago and haven't stopped thinking about it? He's just the he's the perfect man. Bridgerton, if any of you, this is a very niche thing to bring up. This is very niche, but if any of you have seen his audition for the last 5 years, it's a 5-minute video of him being the most perfect gaslighter. And it's just amazing. And he's just I saw that and I was like, this man is a brilliant actor. And then you watch Bridgerton and then you watch Wicked.
No, and then you watch Crashing and forget all about it if you're Harmit.
Yes, exactly. Crashing. And then,
okay.
He has done so many different roles and they're all so different. And you're like, how can one person do this? Anyway, he's just a perfect man. Moving on.
Thank you for that interlude. I'm glad I invoked it.
Dancing through life.
Okay, so are those the only 2 people that die? I mean, we hear about deaths at the salt pans, deaths in the islands in the Reach, but whatever,
Yeah, that's commonplace at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so summary.
Oh god. Okay. Let's do this, I guess.
3, 2, 1, Brienne.
Okay, we get to the Quiet Isle, very close to Salt Pans. We're gonna leave in the morning. For now, we meet the elder guy. They slowly make their way there, and then the elder guy's like, hey, this is what we've heard. The Hound is actually dead. It's someone else who took his helm or whatever. I physically buried him. By the way, you think you're after Sansa, but the girl you saw, the person saw, is actually Arya, the inn by the crossroads. You should go home. Get out of here, girly pop.
Switch.
Nice. Okay. Cersei. Oh god, this is gonna go down the drain. Cersei, okay, middle of the night, council meeting, Marjorie is like, come on. We hear about what we heard about in the last chapters, with the Iron Men doing their thing. And Cersei is basically like, as per usual, Stannis must be behind everything. And we're not gonna do anything about this, because any way that we can get them forces to fight back is gonna stop us from getting Storm's End and from getting Dragonstone. And then Loras is like, well, what if I just did that? And then he's gonna go do that, and Cersei's happy. And then Cersei kind of half assaults, half has sex with Tiana. And she's like, never mind, I hated this, basically,
okay.
and it'll be morning. Like
that was way over a minute.
And then she also talks to what's his name? The crooked guy we don't like. Qyburn.
That was way more than a minute. And you wouldn't get off of like, and then Loras, and then Loras. Okay.
Sorry.
So, Brienne. Brienne and Party. Is that what we used to, I feel like that's something we used to say a lot.
You used to say that all the time.
Like, it brought back something for me.
Yes. Brienne, I would always be like, Brienne's there. And you would always be like, Brienne and Party.
Well, there's a lot of people in it. So I don't want to recount everyone, okay? So I could have probably done that quicker than going into this whole interlude. Once again, Brienne and Party have arrived at the Quiet Isle, which is where Septim Bald is heading, and they're gonna go. So the Quiet Isle is like an island out in the bay, and the next morning they're gonna go to the salt pans because that's like she's looking for the Hound and all that. But this is where they're staying for the night, and when they to get to the island, they need to go on this like causeway thing, and it's like anytime this is a thing, I love it, actually. It's like only if you're in the know can you get there, you know?
Yeah. Because we had the same thing over in the north area, right?
Yeah, because Bran and Party you take the causeway to the like the tower, and then like Jon and Party show up, and there's like a whole throwdown.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Remember Bran? Remember Jon?
Oh my, I'm still like shook. I'm still like, what do you mean?
Well, so they get there. Brienne is there, and it's like a whole like sanctuary type of deal. People like take vows of silence and stuff, and there's some of them that are allowed to talk once a week, and elder brother can talk all the time, but most of the other people are just silent the whole time. And what is of note? Just that they're like they get there, and the guy they meet is like, oh, a woman and a warrior. This doesn't make no sense. Like, you know.
Once again, we knew like this has been every day.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you looking for? And Septim Bald's like, well, Brienne's hunting for the Hound. Oh, to what end? She touches her sword and is like, his. Which is, you know, I'm going to start saying that even if it's like completely irrelevant. Like, to what end? Yours. Just.
Oh my god. Please.
So they pass the stables because this guy's like, okay, you better talk to elder brother. He's in charge here and all of that. So they're passing the stables, and in the stables is this very ill-tempered war horse stallion.
Might I say, I clocked that right away.
Okay.
I know that I have no proof because we found out like at the end of the chapter, but I was like, we're getting closer to the Hound. This can only be the Hound's horse. I don't know how and I don't know why, but it can only be the Hound's horse.
Okay, well that's
But my
good.
only other thought was, but then I did gaslight myself because I was like, well, didn't Arya take his horse? But then I was like, no, she took her own horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the only time where I was like, well, maybe it's not. But otherwise I was like, there's no way. Who else's would this be? Like, you know?
Okay, well that's good. I'm glad you felt somewhat smart because soon you're gonna not. And you'll see why.
Okay, lovely.
But no, I'm just making it
like
sound like that. You are very smart. I'm just an idiot, okay?
What? No, it's okay. No, I feel like I know what you're gonna say, and I anticipated it, but I couldn't predict it. You're gonna tell me that like the elder brother is someone that we know, and I'm gonna be like, Dad.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get there when we get there. Okay. So basically they're like, this horse, it's been breaking people's jaws left and right. Like it is not, we tried to get it to plow the fields and stuff, but it is not okay with that. So then they just like go on their way, and there's like people, you know, doing their work, everyday things. And for the most part, the Quiet Isle has been untouched by the war because they're kind of separated and haven't been directly impacted by the violence. Though they do pass this big guy like limping and digging a grave. And there's several graves they've been digging because where they're located in the bay, a bunch of bodies just always wash up. And also there was all that stuff that happened in the salt pans and casualties from that and all of that. So
yeah, one of their brothers died there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there was one of them was like over there. And oh, I do love when like they're passing the gravedigger and then Dog is just like, oh, new person. Like
yeah.
I just love dogs, you know?
Yeah. And it was just sad because the guy got his tongue ripped out because he wouldn't talk. And he's like, well, you don't need it anyway.
Right. Yeah, the brother, one of their brothers who was in the salt pans.
Yeah. And then I also liked because he mentions like some wounds do not show. Like it's not just him who's hurt. Like we're all kind of traumatized. I was like, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. So they get to this like cave with a door.
The hermit's hole.
Yeah. So this is like this is where the elder brother lives, and this is apparently also where the first holy man to find his way to the Quiet Isle lived and all that, you know. It's got like apparently 2,000 years ago, so cool. I think that's like, well, I don't know. Currently, like, they're very much into the Seven, you know, on the Quiet Isle.
Yeah.
I don't have a good sense of when the Seven, the religion of the Seven and the Andals, like, came to Westeros. Was that more than 2,000 years ago? Or did this guy, like, create a sanctuary and then eventually over time it also turned into the religion of the Seven? I don't know. I was just curious. But it's the first reference of something being that old.
Yeah.
In this kind of area we've seen. But okay, maybe not. Whatever. Okay, so they meet the elder brother and he's this big guy, and like immediately Brienne's like, oh, he's not like, I feel like he's one to be breaking bones, not healing them. And later on we found out that he was a knight, so it makes sense. But this is his deal now. And he's got himself set up. His room's super, like it's not luxurious, but it's comfortable, and they've got all this furniture made from driftwood, which I was like, if somebody now in our world like were to make furniture from driftwood, that would be like luxury pieces that like art sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But anyway, it's cool that they're reusing what they have. And they're just talking about random things, but also,
and with the furniture, they like, she mentions how all the cups are carved and they're all kind of individual. Like, none of them look the same. And I was like, I just want to see this room. Like, you know how they make, like, versions of things that have been in, like, media?
Right.
Even if it wasn't, like, a set that was... Wait, but this one could have a set.
Could.
I want to see this.
Well, we'll think about this later. In the meantime, speaking of driftwood, a lot of stuff drifts onto the island, and they're just talking about, like, you know, sometimes we get driftwood, sometimes we get gold, sometimes we get bodies, sometimes we get rubies.
Rubies is crazy.
Potentially the rubies that Rhaegar's armor had back in the day, so that's cool.
That is wild. 6 have been found. We're all waiting for the 7th.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, obviously the bodies are the worst thing to find, especially when they're like babies. I mean, obviously.
And nowadays they seem to be getting a lot more of those than the treasures.
Yeah. So Elder Brother's like, okay, so glad you're here, Maribald. We've been waiting for you for a year.
There was also this cute, like, they were like, yeah, we bury them side by side. And then they list, like, all the enemies.
Doesn't matter which army they belong to. In death, they are united or whatever.
Yeah, and they're like, that's the duty the river asks of us in return. And I was like, that's just so nice.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we can't do that in life, but at least in death, we can reunite this.
Yeah, that definitely is helpful to anyone at all. So Maribald, usually, like, we heard how he makes the rounds, and it's been about a year since he's been here. So the brother's like, hey, will you take the time to, like, hear people's confessions? Like, we got a lot to get off our chests. And Maribald's like, well, last time I came through, I was super bored by your confessions. Like, jokingly, obviously.
Yeah, he's like, do you have anything, like, interesting for me?
And Pod is just like, but how are they gonna confess? Nobody talks here. And apparently they make an exception for confession because religion, you know. And then they're talking about the salt pans and the devastation caused there by these outlaws. And apparently there was this one woman who was badly raped and hurt to a point where her, like, breasts had been bitten off and eaten. Like, who?
I don't even know. That is just like, what?
Yeah, and she and a lot of the people blame Sir Quincy Cox, which is, what a name, who is like the knight of Salt Pans, who just barred his gates and stood behind while everyone else was killed and slaughtered and all of that. And, you know, Maribald's being super nice, like, oh, well, he's old, he doesn't really have anyone to, like, fight, and against so many, what could he, the one person, have done? But Brienne in her head is like, well, he could have at least tried, he could have died trying, but he didn't. And even the elder brother is like, yeah, well, when you go to the Salt Pans, I'm sure he'll want your forgiveness. I couldn't give him mine. So so then they go to supper, and it's like plain but delicious, like nutritious food, and it's, you know, just like there's like people are singing hymns, and there's people like reading from the Bible equivalent thing.
And it's just nice and, like, calm and, like, joyous.
And, like, the novices are serving, and then they take turns, like, eating. It's like it's a good community feeling. It gave me commune, you know?
Yeah.
See, sometimes cults are good.
Are we back on this?
I'm sorry. I just had to. Please. Today's a day of all references. I'm going to reference parties, and I'm going to reference cults.
Oh my god.
And it's just a good vibe overall. And then it's time for bed, and they ship Podrick and Sir Hyle off to some place. I don't know. And Podrick's like, but I want to stay with Brienne. And then this guy, the guy they met initially, is like, well, what you and Lady Brienne may do elsewhere is between you and the Seven.
You?
To this, like, 11-year-old child. Like, what the hell is...
You?
Yeah,
it just, like, gross.
Okay.
Uncalled for.
Yeah. It's like, Brienne is also, like, 16, 17, so she's not much older, but, like, to me, she's more adult-like, and Podrick is just, like, literally a baby.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't qualify under, like, age of consent at all. Because if you're, like, 11, it's, like, the most would be, like, 10 or 12.
Why is that your brain goes? So
but I'm just saying.
This guy's. That's what I was annoyed by.
Yeah. It just, like, it doesn't even... A, it doesn't even make sense. B, it would be none of your business.
Yeah.
3, ew.
AB3?
That's Wait, is that what I said? Yeah. Did I say AB3? LOL, that's funny.
That is so funny. But basically, the guy has got some weird ideas. But also, like, by the way he treated Brienne was like a woman and a warrior. Like, you know,
makes sense.
Whatever.
Checks out.
So, but they've got these, like, kind of modest cottages, they call them, for whenever women visit, WV word next to each other. You know, it always trips me up. Visit the island. So that's Brienne's going to be set up in one of those. And So Podrick and Hyle go off to wherever they're going to sleep, and the elder brother walks Brienne to her cottage. So it's a nice little, like, comfy little place. It's got, you know, a couple chairs, a bed, and, like, all the necessities. And they're talking about more of what happened at the salt pans and how there's, like, usually you can see the fire is burning, but because nobody is left, like, either they died or they were out fishing and saw everybody killed and were too afraid to land their boats and return to just bury their dead. And then they also left. So, like,
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know which situation is more horrifying. To be the people being slaughtered or to be the ones watching people being slaughtered. All horrible.
Yeah.
Apparently the raiders were looking for passage across the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be looking for passage across the sea?
I don't know. Like,
we know, so Arya boarded a ship here, but this happened after Arya had left.
yeah.
So,
and we know that the mummers were looking for passage.
Yes, the ones that Brienne killed, those guys were looking for passage. And there are, like, a bunch of outlaws, but any ideas, or do you just want to go nah and move on?
I honestly didn't stop to think about this. I just kind of kept reading. Yeah, I have no idea, because, like, the only things I can think of are, like, okay, well, maybe Tyrion and Varys wanted to get away, or, like...
But why would they be slaughtering people?
That's what I'm saying, like...
And also, if there was a dwarf in the mix,
it
would be known.
Yeah, I don't know, but, like, maybe one of the... Because, you know, we know now that, like, the outlaw groups have, like, kind of split up. So maybe one of the other outlaw groups, but, like, I don't know what they're trying to do or where they're trying to go. Like, I don't know. I just can't think of anyone where their motivations are clear for wanting to go across.
Okay.
Who would also be here and be causing devastation.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, so they, like, settle into the cottage, and the elder brother's like, okay, we should have a chat. So remember how you're looking for Sansa Stark because you think she was with the Hound? You got that kind of wrong. It was actually Arya that Sandor Clegane had. And Brienne is like, wait, what? I'm glad that this conversation happened, like, so clearly, because remember, I was wondering whether she knew this or not.
That's why you were wondering, because you were like, oh, okay, I'm so happy about this, but this feels weird. Because I feel like we never get stuff like this, where we're like, I just need her to know that she's looking for the wrong person. And I remember saying that a bunch of times, like, I just need someone to sit down and, like, tell her.
Right.
And that's
but
kind
Arya's
of what
across the
literally
sea
happens.
now, and she hasn't quite gotten to that part yet.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to solve all her problems, but I just
Right.
need her to at least know that because, you know, at this point, it's like no one knows Arya's alive, right? That was the
True.
problem. And now if at least, like, one of the most good people who could know Arya's alive knows,
Right.
at least we got something, because then she can tell Jaime, and now two people that we like know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just more that we can do, and this just feels like a weird gift from George R. R. Martin. Like, because I remember being like, well, it would never happen, but, like, can we just have that? And it's like, it literally is just like, hey, sit down, let me tell you. And he doesn't often write that in, like, you know, like, just someone sitting down and clearing your
actually having a
misunderstanding.
conversation with accurate information.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
It felt weird. I was like, is this actually happening? I feel like I'm about to get the rug pulled under.
So she, like you, is shocked. Like, Arya's, like, but she's shocked about the fact that Arya is alive. And he's like, well, she was then. I can't say for now. Like, who knows what happened to her. And
so, I know, like, this guy gets info and whatever, and, like, he's, like, the leader here, you know, whatever. Okay, so he has the info about... So he clearly knows, like, she was with him at the end, right? Like, he says that. So is that just, like, he got the info from Masha? Or,
he
like,
saw the Hound.
But, like, did the Hound, like, tell him?
Yeah, maybe it was, like, a deathbed confession thing, you know?
Okay. Because I guess I was just thinking, like, it makes sense. Like, you know, he talked like, he was with the Hound. He is close enough to the inn to probably be able to get intel. And, like...
I think Clegane told him.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, Clegane was like, this
right,
seems like a nice guy, and maybe he can, like, help out Arya. Like, I don't know.
Right, because he was talking to Arya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, that makes sense. So
yeah.
I guess he just... Because I guess I just was like, how does he know so certainly about everything that happened? But that makes sense if Clegane just told him.
Right.
I guess in my head, I just was like, how much is he going to be able to talk when he's been there for a bit? You know, like, even when Arya left him, he was kind of in a bad state.
Right.
But I guess it makes sense. Yeah. Because I just was like, is this guy someone? Like, is he important? Like, who is this? But I don't know.
So this is when he's like, I know she was with him at the inn, but now I don't know what's going on. The one thing I do know, however, is that the man you hunt is dead. Mm-hmm. And, how did he die? By the sword, as he had lived. And she's like, you sure about this? And this is when we find out, I buried him myself. And apparently he placed the Hound's helm on top of the grave as a marker of his resting place, which turned out to be a grievous error because somebody clearly took it and is now impersonating the Hound. So your theory of the Hound is like come back from the dead, evil. Not quite.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
And maybe this is just me wanting to stick to my things, right?
Sure.
Okay. So, like, how do we know that somebody didn't also dig up the Hound and then
reanimate him?
Why does it have to be somebody impersonating? Sure, because this guy might not... I don't think this guy knows about the realiving people situation. So, of course, his conclusion is going to be, took the Hound, but... Because he doesn't say, I went back and his body is still there, but the helm is taken. So,
okay.
Because also,
well,
who is large enough to impersonate the Hound? Or is it just people are going to assume it's the Hound because he's got the helm and he's like some tall, lumbering man?
Yeah. I mean, that could be.
That makes sense.
Like, somebody literally impersonated Renly by wearing his armor and everybody thought his ghost was back, you know? Like,
and we had the same thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, it definitely makes sense that they could have just been like, wow, large, scary man, Hound's helm. But it just, like, and I guess we haven't seen no one's been like, yeah, I saw his scarred face as he tried to kill me. Like, you know? Mm-hmm. No one's given us confirmation that even, it is, in fact, the Hound.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I guess I'm just... So, okay, so I guess my theory is either that it's still the Hound, like, reanimated. Or that it's like one... Because we know there's different outlaw clans now, and, like, most of them aren't doing that... They're broken men, right? Like, most of them aren't doing that great, so maybe one of them. But even within that, I'm struggling to remember... any of them, like, I don't remember, like, Lem being super tall, or, like, Thomas Evans being, like, you know, and, like, right. I just don't remember some guy. Like, they all had their thing. Like, one of them had, like, he was all in
right,
yellow
but you're,
or
like,
something.
limiting your thinking to just the Brotherhood, though. Like, there's
other outlaws.
A lot more outlaws out there
I guess my thing, that's totally true, and, like, it could literally be anyone, but I guess my thinking is just, like, who have we seen before that this could be? Because it could totally be just some random man who came upon and was like, wow, the Hound's dead, let me go.
Who would be inclined to bite off people's breasts?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we shall see. So, basically, this is the Elder Brothers story, and...
Sorry, hold on. Is Varga Hoat dead?
Yes. He was fed to himself by the mountain.
Yes. Okay, yes. Okay. I guess I just don't know who it would be that we would have ever even heard of before. Because it could be some random man, but like, why would it be?
Right. Okay.
Anyway, those are my thoughts.
The elder brother seems convinced that it wasn't Sandor Clegane that did all the stuff at the salt plans. I keep saying plans. Salt pans, but some other person impersonating him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. He's like talking about the kind of creature that the Hound or Sandor Clegane.
Okay, sorry. I just had a thought, and it's a terrible thought, and I don't like it.
All right,
but it is a thought. Okay. You know how we didn't see Gendry with the Brotherhood last time we saw them in the Catelyn
I don't like
epilogue chapter?
Yeah.
I said I hate this thought too. And this chapter, I was thinking, maybe Gendry just completely
has turned
broke.
Cannibalistic.
Yeah. Or maybe someone was like, hey Gendry, you have to do this. And then he was like, okay.
I mean, oh no. No. Sorry. Because remember Gendry also had a helm that he made for himself, but it was not obviously the Hound's helm. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that thought, so I'm just gonna move on from it. But the elder brother is talking about the kind of stuff, like, it's given all of this detail, I feel it can only come from Clegane himself, which is why I feel that there was a deeper conversation there, you know?
Got it.
Like, about him being bitter about his brother and, like, killing his brother being his only motivation in life and all of that.
That's why I was like, who is this guy and how does he know so much?
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
And Brienne's like, you sound as you pity him. And she's like, well, you would have pitied him as well if you'd seen him at the end. And, you know, I came upon him, drawn by his cries of pain. He begged me for the gift of mercy, but I'm sworn not to kill again, which is when, like, our second hint of this guy is more than he appears. And then, you know, like, I gave him some wine, some poultice for his wounds, but it was too little too late. The Hound died there in my arms. And that horse you saw, that's his horse. And his name's Stranger, but we call him Driftwood. Yeah, and Brienne's like, all right, I guess it's true then. Sandor Clegane is dead. He is at rest, the elder brother says. And
he's like, I was a knight.
Yeah.
I'm 44.
He starts talking about his history. He was like the third son of some random knight, and he wasn't going to inherit anything, but he was fighting at the Battle of the Trident on Rhaegar's side. And everybody talks about, you know, Robert and Rhaegar fighting, but everybody was dying. And
I have a question. Do they have like a calendar? Because you know how seasons don't work the way they do?
Right.
So is it like the Citadel keeps track of like the days somehow?
Yeah,
like...
they have like moon cycles. They like kind of basically months, you know.
Oh, okay. So they just do like
and
however
they count
many
years.
Months
like
are.
they say it's like at Joffrey's wedding, it was 300 years since Aegon's conquest and all of that stuff, you know.
Okay. I guess I was just wondering, like, so I guess within the seasons, like, they just have different markers of things, like...
Well, seasons are, like, years. So, like...
Yeah.
They don't think of fall, winter, summer, spring being, like, yearly things. They just think of them being, like, decades-long things.
Yeah.
Yeah, seasons don't play into that. It's just more like cycles of the moon. This many cycles equals a year. This many years equals a decade. You know, like
yeah,
all of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like he talks about how like, you know, back in the day he was not the greatest person. He used to drink too much. My life was written red in blood and wine. When did it change, asked Brienne? When I died at the Battle of the Trident. So he like basically almost died. He was near death. He was in a position of near death, and somebody had stripped him of all his like clothes and belongings and just threw him in the river, but he washed up on the Quiet Isle. and he was reborn again, and it makes sense that he was naked because that's how he was born the first time around.
Yeah. And there was this line, excuse me. I fought for Prince Rhaegar, though he never knew my name. I could not tell you why, save that the lord I served a lord who served a lord who had decided to sport the dragon rather than the stag. And I was like, damn, that's really what they be doing. Like, yeah. I like this guy. He seems cool.
Just everyday people caught in the Game of Thrones. So, it's, he's
this
like...
This is also very Davos core, once again.
Yes, the rebirth and all of that, the washing up as well. And generally a dude we like, So basically, he's like, okay, see, you have a home, you have a dad who loves you, and all of this stuff. Just go back home. Like, you're not gonna... The Hound is dead. Your quest is not gonna bear any fruit. Just go be home, and I'm sure your dad would rather have his daughter alive than have to bury your body and, like, be proud of it or something. And Brienne, like, kind of breaks down at this point because she's like, well, I'm not the daughter he deserves, and I'm not the son he wanted, so... I'm just of no worth, apparently. Like,
Brienne. This is like what I was talking about a few Brienne chapters ago, where I was like, having Hyle around is probably not good for her, because it just probably reminds her of all the things that she has gone through and hated, so.
Yeah. As she says, all of it came pouring out, and she's, like, telling her entire, like, life story from, like, her betrothals to Renly dying, including Jaime and his confessions in the bathtub, which I'm like, okay, so now there's at least one more person in the realm who knows what Jaime did for the sake of King's Landing.
Yeah.
Which I guess I like,
Yeah.
And all of that info, she just spills it all, and she ends it with, I have to find her. And Jaime gave me the sword and named it Oathkeeper. I have to try to save her or die in the attempt. What do you think is more likely of the two?
I think both. I think she'll find her first and then like, die in the attempt. Like you find her, but then maybe aren't able to like help her, or maybe like you help her but die doing it.
Okay.
So you do succeed, but you also die doing it.
Interesting. All right. Well, it's a sad note to end the chapter on.
Yeah, I fear that Brienne may die. I don't think Brienne is going to outlive this series.
Like, within the next 2 books that are out, or?
That I don't know. But definitely...
Not next, I guess. These 2 books. The next makes
scary.
It sound like there's a 6th one, and if only.
Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know if she dies, like, in the 4th or 5th book, but... Well, she can't die in the 5th book, because she won't be a character in the 5th book.
Right.
So that's nice. So if she dies, she has to die now, which I don't think is gonna happen.
Just putting a deadline on her death.
Hey, I didn't construct
Miss
this
fortune
book.
teller over here. Well, we can always hear about a death. We heard about Davos's death in this book, and he's not in it.
Okay, but whatever. Moving on. She might die in like book 6. Maybe book 6 opens, and it's like Brienne is dead.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, I don't want that, but it might be the case, so I will guess predictions. Okay, so you think that it still might be the Hound reanimated, or it's some outlaw that you can't remember who it is. I don't think we need to, like, I think that those predictions are worn out now. Where does Brienne go from here?
Well, Salt Pants.
Right.
Because we're here, we may as well
Right.
go check
But like
it
there's
out.
nothing there. Like they're basically just gonna pass through.
Yeah. Well, now that she knows Arya's alive,
Or was alive at the end at the crossroads.
right, was alive. So maybe I think she'll still try to go to Salt Pans and like talk to the night guy, see if there's anyone left.
Mm.
Who she can talk to, because I feel like she'll still like, it might not be very helpful, but she'll probably do that. And then be like, okay, well, if Arya didn't die, like, where would she have gone?
So just to Salt Pans, that's like the extent of your prediction is across the bay.
I'm trying to think where she would go, though, but it's like, there's just not a lot of successful...
If only you paid attention to the way I phrase my questions.
Can you ask it again?
No, because now I've given it to you. And if
just ask the question again.
I'm not... Well, no.
Wait, what did you say? What's Brienne? What did you say?
I said more things than just one thing.
Okay, well, can you just say the bare bones?
No. Okay.
What?
So...
Okay, hold on. Let me think.
It wasn't how I phrased the question, but how I added to the question.
I don't even remember the question.
Of course you don't.
You can't.
Well, the question was basically like, what's Brienne gonna do next? Where will she go?
Okay.
And then I kept adding on to it, and then...
Give me like a solid minute to think. Uninterrupted. Well, I feel like she might still try to go to River Run.
Okay. Yeah.
Because...
See, like, I just want, like... Salt Pans just doesn't feel like
it.
So I just wanted a place, like,
because
in
I
addition
think River
to that.
Run, just because, like... Okay, so Arya either died at Salt Pans, right? So maybe she'll try to check bodies and then realize there's too many people here to, like, try and check for Arya's body. But the thing is,
most of them have been buried by now.
Right, that's true. But maybe she can try to find but the thing is, like, if she tried to find a ship or go somewhere else, like, there's just no, like, there's no crumbs of where Arya could have gone.
Right.
Or, like, and who's to say that Arya didn't go back towards River Run? But I don't think that what I will say is, I don't think she's gonna think Arya's dead. Because just the fact that she made it so far is so shocking, and she's gonna be like, okay, well, if she made it here,
like, she refuses
out.
to acknowledge that possibility, even in this chapter, so...
Yeah, but even before, like, how she's like, well... Arya's lost cause, but I think she's gonna go towards River Run because she's gonna think, like, if not Arya, Sansa, if not Sansa, Arya.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Like, is she gonna kind of abandon the Sansa trail to get on this Arya trail, or pursue them simultaneously?
Yeah, now instead of, like, a maid of 3 and 10,
well, she doesn't even really know what Arya looks like, so...
Yeah, maybe she'll be like, and her younger sister, like...
My younger sister's younger sister, you know how, like...
That's exactly how she'll phrase it. Don't worry, we're stepsisters, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe, like, maybe she'll try to go to Lysa, because she had that thought before, right?
Right. But she heard that Lysa Arryn was dead, and then she was like, oh, shucks.
Oh, nar. Yeah, well, maybe she'll make her way towards River Run, which will give her news of Littlefinger has a daughter he's pretty attached to. And then she'll be like,
okay.
I don't know, no Littlefinger daughter. Which would be like that would be a leap to assume, but let's just hope that we get some more info in there. Just because, like, I want to predict, like, she's gonna go, but, like, I just don't know where she's gonna go.
All right, enough of this. Now I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna blow your mind.
I'm scared. I don't like this. Okay.
You know how you were like, I don't even know if the Hound's body is still there.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that the Hound's body is not in that grave. You know why? Because he's on the Quiet Isle digging graves. Theory mind blown.
What? Wait.
Remember the grave digger that's big and taller than Brienne is limping along, liked by the dog, is a novice, keeps his head down.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Let me go back to that page. Hold it along. Hold it along. Hold on.
How about you look this up later, and I'll tell you some other information to support this theory.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I'm looking and listening. Go for it.
Other than the fact that there's this guy on the island that definitely fits the Hound's description, you know, the way that the elder brother talks about him being dead is he uses this vague phrasing. He says, "The man you hunt is dead." He never says Sandor Clegane is dead. He says the Hound is dead. And the Hound is like this, like, you know,
persona
side of him that has died. And talking about his own experience, the elder brother talks about how I died in the Trident and was reborn as a new person. So his, you know, idea of death and life
struggling
is a little...
to dig a grave.
Yeah.
He's not very good at his job. And Brienne's like,
well, he's hurt a lot, remember?
Right. Oh, yeah, right. He had so many injuries. Forgot about that. I thought it was like he's struggling to do his job. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And when she says, "Oh, it's true then, Sandor Clegane is dead," the elder brother just says, "He is at rest." Like, he's now in this penitent place and, you know.
That makes sense, because then he also is like, oh, like, the way he describes everything in such detail, too, is like, if he's reborn now, like, he would really be able to get into it. Like, before where I was like, okay, but how was the Hound in his state able to tell him this much?
Right, but maybe he recovered over time.
That makes so much more sense. Because I was like, are you sure he got all this from the Hound? Because the Hound be dying. Like,
well,
he could
again,
barely
this
talk
is
to
just
Arya.
a theory. But I would be lying if I didn't say this theory is basically true. Or, okay. It's just like one of those things, you know?
Right.
It's like John, R plus L equals
exactly.
J, you know, Gravedigger equals Hound or Clegane, like, you know.
Oh my god. That's crazy. That's, like, not okay. Wow.
All right. So, let you ruminate on that while we talk about Cersei.
Oh my god. Jesus.
So, 1,000 ships. Or that actually, it's Marjorie, so I guess that's not her. How does Marjorie's voice sound, Harmith? Give us a demonstration.
Wait, 1 second. So it's still, oh my god, it makes so much sense because it's still like feasting on the crows. The Hound, the poor Hound is just trying to do his thing on the Quiet Isle, and the crows are feasting.
Yeah. So.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wild.
These outlaws be feasting on his reputation, his
life,
I don't know.
Oh my god, hold on. And that's why he knows with such certainty that it's not the Hound, too. He's like, bruh, the Hound is here. Like, what do you mean? Oh my god. That's, like, nice, you know? For him. Like, if it's true, you know? Like, that's, like, you know, he deserves some peace. He had so many demons all his life.
So you think, like, he'll retire here and we'll never hear from him again?
Or maybe, like, he'll, like, get better here and then be like, I'm gonna use my powers for good. Because this is a fairy tale book,
He's
right?
He's gonna
where
join the Faith Warriors or whatever.
Oh god, I hope that's not where it goes. Oh my god, can you imagine him and Lancel serving side by side?
Oh, that would be interesting. Okay. Ready to talk about Cersei?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, it is the middle of the night. Everyone has been...
sorry. So it can't be the Hound. Who's out
We're
here
talking
hounding.
about Cersei now.
Okay, that's sad. Anyway,
it's the middle of the night, and everyone has been roused because there are 1,000 ships in the Reach that have laid siege to these islands. And Marjorie's upset, and she's gotten everybody together and called for an audience with Cersei and all of that. And she's like, this must be answered. And Cersei's obviously like, must? She dare tell her rightful queen what she must do? Like, you know, the usual
Cersei's
Cersei
being
bullshit.
Cersei, yeah.
And
it's like, oh, it's almost like her family could be in danger, you know? Consider that.
And they're like arguing about like whether 1,000 ships is even possible. And it's like, even if it's like 100 ships, it's still bad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and Cersei just totally fails to grasp how important these shields, the islands, are, because without them there, the Ironborn have a direct way to Old Town and Highgarden and all of that stuff, and can like do a lot of damage. And she's just like, petty little people. They just weren't looking out. Like when people,
she like calls it the rocks.
Yeah.
And Loras is like, you fucking bitch.
Like, they're trying to explain how the Ironborn, like, went way out west, and that's why they weren't seen coming for the attack. And she's like, oh, more like they forgot to man their towers. Like,
no. Like, girly.
Cersei.
She just has her own things and then doesn't listen to anyone. And then once again, it doesn't help that all her council people are like, she's like, oh, it must have been Stannis, because everything is Stannis these days, right?
Yes.
And then her council people are like, oh, what brilliance. Little clap. Like, you can't, like, just, this is like the most unproductive, annoying thing ever.
Yeah. She's like blaming Willis for not being competent enough to rule the Reach, and they're like, well, he can gather people, but how can he form an attack without ships? Because all the ships, like the Red Wine Fleet, is currently by the king in the Crown Lands, like laying siege to Dragonstone and also providing supplies to Storm's End siege. Like, a lot of shit's happening. And basically, Marjorie and Loras are like, you gotta let them go, and then they'll come back and besiege these places. Like, they're not going anywhere. But she's like, absolutely not. And okay, then she's like, well, I bet this is Stannis' doing because he wants us to leave his castles alone. And also she says something like, Balon Greyjoy offered my father an alliance. Perhaps his son has offered one to Stannis. I had to read this like 5 times.
She doesn't even know that.
One page before this, Qyburn clearly says, oh, it's their new king, Lord Balon's brother, the Crow's Eye, he's called.
Well, it just proves that further that she doesn't listen.
Yeah, I was like, does she not know, or does she, like, Girly
is so unfit for this job. It cannot be, like, overstated. Like,
yeah. So, like, while this, I was like, maybe this is, like, George R. R. Martin forgot what, like, thing to say here, but I'm gonna choose to just blame it on Cersei's incompetence.
I think he's just trying to show us how uninvolved in this conversation Cersei is, and how she just wants to jump to her own conclusions.
And apparently her thesis is that Stannis is now teaming up with the Ironborn to take over the North.
Yeah.
Which they attacked, and he's trying to, like, he's trying to make alliances in the North. Like, how those two things are counterintuitive.
Yeah. And she's like, and Qyburn's like, why would Stannis do that if he's been trying to win people from the North?
Not Qyburn, Pycelle, the only voice of reason, apparently.
I was trying to say Pycelle, but in my head, they're both old men. Yeah, literally. This is so weird. How is Pycelle, like, insane? I guess
honestly, at this point, probably the realm's, like, peace depends on Pycelle's weak shoulders.
Which is so funny. Like, I guess it just really goes to show you, like, Pycelle is so for the Lannister cause, right? It's because
at least
Tywin
and
all of that. You don't
like
think
which Lannisters are left now for him to back?
Well, that's true, but like he cares about the Lannister family so deeply, right? And,
right. Like I think in this case he is giving good advice, but if it came to like, you know, Marjorie comes to him and is like, "We're gonna overthrow Cersei," I think he would totally.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's also because it's Cersei. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't, like, you know, I don't think Cersei, like, Tywin was the one who was his fave, right? But because of the Tywin stuff, like, he's supporting Cersei because of, like, you know, he's literally on the advisory council, like, he's got to do his thing. And also as, like, just leftover support of, like, Tywin and that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, like, girly has got to get that in her noggin and, like, realize, like, she's just so bad. Like, she's like, oh, my friends are useless and my foes suck. And it's like, girly, no, if you would just listen to your friends.
Yeah.
Like, they would
So,
actually
like,
get
she
you.
doesn't listen to the ones who are making any sense. And the ones that suck are the ones you put there. Like, you appointed these
Exactly.
people to your council and as your friends and set them on
Yeah.
task. And now you're like, they're so incompetent.
Other than Qyburn and Merryweather, like, nobody else tricked you into giving them a position. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they all, Orain is, like, near death from his coughing, and you were like,
No. Wrong person.
Oh, wait, that's Orain
Rosby.
Waters.
Orain Waters, the one
Rosby. Yeah, the
who
ship guy.
tricked her into doing it through his sexuality. Or, like, I don't know. Like... Like,
Oh my
she
God.
put him on the council just because he's hot.
Yeah. But, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of those were just, none of them did that. The only ones who tricked you were Qyburn and Tyanna, who had any, like, actual motives in
So
there.
you think Tana Merryweather tricked her?
Well, not tricked, but, like, manipulate, like, oh,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
your
definitely.
friend.
I'm just like, because
Yeah.
Cersei doesn't seem to have, like, she constantly makes these comments, like, if you dare betray me, but she,
Doesn't think she will.
yeah.
At all. Like, Gurley has fallen for her so much.
Yeah. So they're arguing about this and the importance of the islands and, like, how it's gonna work, and Cersei's like, you know what? Well, Highgarden has my leave to hire sellswords for this purpose.
Who needed your leave?
Well, maybe they do need her leave, but also that is a horrible solution. As Loras points out, like, you mean pirates? You want us to bring pirates into this?
Yeah.
And so they're just, like, trying to get her to do this. And she's like, nope. This cannot happen until as long as Dragonstone remains in the hands of Stannis Baratheon. So we'll release him after that castle falls. So that at this point, she has dismissed everyone, but Loras, like, jumps up, and at first she's like, oh my god, he's gonna kill me, but, like, that's just, you know, what he is doing is kneeling in front of her and asking for leave to go fight at Dragonstone and take the castle and all of that stuff. And she's like, oh, perfect, yes, go and do that, and if you get the castle, great, yay for me. If you die, also yay for me. Just like, also, like, if you remember what Jaime said last, he put Loras in charge because, did I just say Loras in charge?
He said Lorison.
No, because, okay.
You said Lorison in charge.
He put Loras in charge because Loras is the, like, last competent member of the Kingsguard remaining. And now he's gonna go off and do this thing. And Tommen's just, like, hanging around doing nothing, like...
And Jaime's not here to talk anyone out of anything. I feel like if anyone
I don't know
could
if it's
talk
just the
Loras
Hound
out
that's
of
digging
this.
graves in this book, you know?
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know if, you know, I do want to know, or no, I guess, like, okay, two things. I feel like if anyone could talk Loras out of this, it would be Jaime, and he ain't here.
Right.
B, does anyone know why George R.R. Martin made Cersei so incompetent? Like, is it just to show us, like, the other themes, like, oh, like, you know, alcoholism, twincest, being...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care because I just found it so entertaining, so...
Right. Like, is it, like, I guess I just don't get it. Like, is it...
Well, no. Like, he's kind of playing at these greater themes of like, okay, she has dealt with the patriarchy her whole life and has been shaped by it.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, like, you can have a character that's like, Arya is like, gender norms, fuck that, you know? There's that. And then Cersei, where she's like, I don't know.
Cersei's more like, I am a man. I should have been a man, more than like, men aren't better. Like, it's like this weird, like, she's more mad about the fact
it's
that
like a
she
more
can't
nuanced,
participate.
like, you can have a woman who is a competent leader and be like, see, the patriarchy's wrong. And then here you have a woman who acknowledges the patriarchy is wrong, but is also wrong. And like, the way that like interplays and just like turns into the gems of Cersei's chapters is...
But I guess my question is just, not that I don't like it. Obviously, Cersei is entertaining as heck because it's... And I love that he made a Lannister this way, not a Stark, right? Because when Lannisters
the Starks are the noble ones. They can't do this.
But like, you know, like with... Like, obviously, I'm glad that it's a Lannister who's constantly digging their own grave. But the thing... So I like that he did it that way. And so it's not that I don't like it.
But to be fair,
just, I would like
Robb
to know...
Stark, Ned Stark kind of also dug their own graves.
But that was completely different. Characters can dig their own grave without doing it at every turn, okay? Without actively trying to dig their own grave, okay? We all make mistakes, and that's what they did, okay? Do not say their names in vain.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's not that the Starks don't make mistakes.
Well, yeah, but I didn't say that at all.
Oh, well, I'm not
mistakes,
saying it either. Okay,
Anyway, Kate, let me finish what I'm trying to say, okay? So it's not that I don't like that he did it this way, but I just realized, I just feel like all of those themes and everything, like, his point could have been proven without her needing to be so bad at her job.
I guess
like, she could be a little bit better.
No,
you know?
like, true. I agree. But what...
Like, I guess it was just a choice he made.
You have to...
Commit?
It's about the arc of the character, not just of this moment. She is so incompetent, you know?
Right. So
maybe her arc is she overcomes her incompetence. Have you ever thought about that?
It just feels like we're in a really low right now, okay? It's hard to see how we go higher than this.
Right.
Or lower than this.
Well, yeah, like both possibilities are possible. That's why they're possibilities.
Yeah. I guess, but it's just like wild because you're just like, I just feel like every chapter I'm like, what? But anyway, yeah. Maybe that's why people don't like
we
this
have
book.
Our girl bosses. We've got Brienne, we got Arya, we got Sansa, we got Asha, we got like...
Yeah, but we could also have a neutral girl. We don't need them to either be girl boss or girl devastation.
Well, well, okay, that's true. I feel like the most neutral, like, has done equally good and bad things would probably be, like, Catelyn. Like, before death Catelyn, you know?
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Definitely Catelyn. Because it's just, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's also just, like, a general, like, media thing where, like, she needs to be either, like, insanely girl boss or, like, needs to be, like, weirdly,
well, the mediocre
like, really
characters
weird.
Aren't really memorable.
I know, but there are ways to make mediocre characters memorable.
Well,
like,
also,
there are
like,
mediocre men that I love.
Think what I appreciate is that the girl bosses aren't always girl bossing. Like, we recently saw Arianne fail epically, you know? Sansa, as Cersei remembers in this chapter, literally started her arc as the tattletale,
destroying her family.
Yeah. Arya, might I remind you, has killed quite a few people.
That's true.
So, like, I'm not saying they are the epitome of people. They got their flaws, you know?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I just like mediocre characters, so I'm always trying to vouch for them more.
Well, you know what? Talk to Mott's about that one. Let's get back on hand.
Okay. Anyway,
Not saying that the characters you love are mediocre, Moss, but you just love the minor ones, and you know.
Oh my god. Yeah, because there's a few men throughout media where I'm like, you literally do nothing for the story.
Okay, but to be honest, cool. Like, every man in the story is mediocre.
LOL, what? Really?
Your favorite Sir Hyle, what has he done?
Well, yeah, but like, there's plenty of characters out here doing things, good and bad.
Okay, now you're arguing against yourself. You're saying I want...
No, I'm not saying we need more mediocre characters. I'm just thinking, like, we don't have any main mediocre people. Which is fine, because that's not how story arcs work.
Let me tell you, I have some good news. There are some very mediocre characters coming up.
Really? Wait, that's cute. No, just because, like, obviously stories... Okay,
let's see if you retain that sentiment when you have to deal with them, okay?
Okay. Just give me one more sentence and then we can move on.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Okay. Damn, okay, I'm excited. Because my thing is just, like, I like to have a little bit of a balance. And I just feel like because this series is so extreme, every once in a while when we get, like, a really mediocre man going around, like Hyle, so mediocre, it's just entertaining. Because you're like, this bitch has done nothing except just kind of walk around. And then, like, he did bad things in his youth, but, like, now he's just kind of boring. I guess
I just find the extraordinary to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. No, both are good. I like a little balance.
Okay. Back to this chapter.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so, Loras is going to go do this thing. Cersei is thrilled. She walks out. She's annoyed with Pycelle because apparently he's been naysaying everything she says, including the fact when she told him to drop the papers for the deal with the Sept, he was like, this ain't a good idea. And she was like, go fuck yourself. So that's where that's at.
Yeah. And also, she's also thinking, like, the person that's defending Stannis' castle is definitely gonna be able to kill Loras, so she's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's more likely that, like, I win in that way, where, like, Loras just fades away.
And also she's like, and if he dies, I'll have Sir Osney comfort his grieving sister. And then she does the maniacal laugh.
Out loud. Out loud.
It just gets better and better.
This is just like, there's no way that half of these things that she does are, like, this is not real. That's like, in what world was she like, and even your Grace? Grandmaster Pycelle blinked, his mouth sagging open. Why would you laugh? Insane.
Yep. So she just leaves him. That one has outlived any usefulness he ever had. And
no,
then
I say the opposite. I feel like he's only now begun to come into his usefulness.
So she's walking then with Qyburn, and Qyburn's like, hey, should Loras die, you're gonna need another Kingsguard. Ooh. And she's like, well, yeah, let me know if you find somebody, young and swift and strong so that Tommen can basically replace Loras. And he's like, well, I don't have anybody like that, but I do have someone who will give you a lot of devotion, will protect your son, kill your enemies, keep your secrets, and no living man will be able to withstand him. And she's like, okay, that's a lot of talk. We'll see it when you have it, Mm-hmm. And then he asks about the armor, and apparently he has requested such, like, large, heavy armor that it doesn't make sense for any person to actually be able to wield it. And Cersei's like, don't you dare play me for a fool. I will kill you. And he's like, well, I'm just, we're all good. Trust me, basically. Thoughts?
I feel like this is some Gregor bullshit.
But I thought he did.
He's not. Remember, he's working on his body. Because we gave them the head.
Okay, but giving the head equals dead usually.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was reminded of your Theon's beheadedness.
I guess
What did you say? Did you just say he was been beheaded? What was the term?
Decapitated.
Decapitated.
Like, I was like, well, yeah, he's just been decapitated.
It's not a big deal.
Well, yeah, but like, I stand by that. Okay, I still stand by that.
I mean,
okay, 'cause
one of the Clegane brothers has already come to life. It seems. Why not another one?
Yes, this is just like, and even if it's not Clegane, he be working on other dead bodies. Remember?
Yeah. What's this one's name?
Gregor
Clegane. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, because he's been too many Cleganes going on. Literally,
I think the Hound of the Mountain is really the best way to refer to them.
They've both died, and we still have to constantly hear about them. And it's just like, bro, even in death they haunt us. But anyway, yeah, because didn't we have those disturbing details about how she just gives people to Qyburn to like...
Yeah, including in this chapter where she gives him Felice, I don't know how you say her name, and is like, oh, if you still have need of women, and he's like, oh yeah, the performers are quite exhausted or used or something, and I did not want to know anymore.
Yeah, so he's been doing all that. So she just gives him people, like, what? Yeah, I don't know. Which kind of like, yeah, like it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I guess because Clegane is like dead. But maybe with his magic, like he's able to keep the person. Well, I don't know. It's tough though, because then he's always like, oh no, but this person's exhausted. But like also Clegane was like a lot bigger and like than like the average man. So I don't know if that would be more helpful for his stuff or worse. But anyway, yeah, he's doing some stupid magic bullshit, and I don't want to know.
Okay, cool. All right, so
he's creating like a final boss, basically.
Okay.
And that's the Kingsguard champion that he's gonna put forward with all the
instead of Frankenstein's monster, it's gonna be Qyburn's monster.
Basically.
All right,
Qyburn's armor.
They part. Cersei goes back to her room, and she's like hearing things, her regular paranoid self, you know. But also, like, we know there's literally tunnels in those walls, so like she may be hearing things.
Yeah.
I remember how she was like, Tyrion's in those walls.
Oh my god.
Imagine chapter 1, book 5, it opens up, Tyrion sitting like watching, like eating peanuts, watching her like stress out about everything.
Oh my god.
Just enjoying the show.
Yeah.
So Taena has been her bedmate for a while. And Cersei's like thinking about how she doesn't like to sleep alone. Even as a kid, she had like, you know, the daughters of her father's household knights and bannermen sleep with her. But they didn't last very long. Little sneaks, the lot of them, she calls them. Vapid, weepy creatures, always telling tales and trying to worm their way between me and Jaime? Huh?
Weird.
Right?
Weird. It's just this weird, like... Yeah, I don't even know how to dissect this, because it's just weird.
And then she's, like, thinking about her room and is like, oh, yeah, this is the bed that Robert died in. And I'm like, it is? First, like... Yeah, I was confused by that because, okay, there's like all these logistical things that are happening. Like, first off, I feel like Cersei and Robert would always have their own rooms, right? And then they may go to each other's rooms occasionally, but they would maintain their own rooms. So when Robert was dying, he would have been taken to his own room, not Cersei's room.
Right.
And also, like Tom is king and married now, so like, Isn't Tommen in Robert's old room, and isn't Marjorie in Cersei's old, like, you know?
Right. I guess because he hasn't come of age yet, so he isn't using those rooms
so
yet.
He's still, like, in the nursery wing or something.
Yeah. Or, like, maybe,
And she says
and it makes sense to me that
Robert died beneath this canopy, and I'm like, get a new canopy.
Yeah, I think Cersei, maybe, like, the queen's room was closer, or, like, or like his room, like she's sleeping in his room now, which feels like a very power-coded thing she would do.
That would make sense given what's about to come in this chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think she just is like, ah ha ha ha, this bitch be dead. You know,
all right.
like,
okay. So
yeah.
Meriwether's there and she's like, oh, what's going on? And they talk about it and whatever. So she is like, she's like, oh, so what are you gonna, like, Meriwether's like, hey, what are you gonna do now? And Cersei's like, what, you want to tell all my secrets? And she's like, no, that's not what I'm gonna do. And Cersei's like, well, that's what they all say. Sansa Stark had done the same, so had Melara Heatherspoon and Fat Jane Farman. I think Melara's the one who died, right? She talks about that. So. When the three of them were girls, I would never have gone into that tent if not for them. I would never have allowed Maggie the Frog to taste my morrows in a drop of blood. So those were the two friends she went into that tent with.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we're getting crumbs, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I would be very sad if you did ever betray my trust. I would have no choice but to give you to Lord Qyburn. And Tana's like, you don't have to worry about that. I got you. I'm here to serve you however you require. And I don't want a reward. I just want to help you. I want to please you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like looking at her and is like, oh, she's hot. But also, I wonder what it would be like to use her like the way Robert would use me when he was drunk.
Yeah.
Which, also Cersei is drunk. She talks later about how she had a whole flagon of wine at dinner and then another with Phallus. Like, she's just drinking bottles and flagons and flagons of wine. Like, not a glass here or there. Just,
oh my god.
And like to like imagine how hungover she would be. So to like delay the hangover, I assume she's just having wine for breakfast as well, and it just keeps going.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder she's so bad at her job.
Right? Okay, maybe it's not an inherent incompetence. Maybe it's a drink-fueled incompetence.
Yeah.
Somebody write a thesis on that. Okay.
Honestly, that makes sense. Like, with the grief
and I mean, even
and the
with
alcohol.
Robert, he was most useless when he was most drunk, you know?
That's true, but also, they had, like, Littlefinger and Varys and all the people that pull
there
the
were
strings.
Other,
Like, you know? So even if Robert was useless, honestly, I think Robert was probably equally useless drunk and not drunk, because he just didn't give a damn. And he never showed up, right? Anyway. So I think with him it was different. Like,
and he probably wasn't sober enough ever.
Yeah.
This is when they hear a knock. No.
Mm-hmm.
She's still thinking about Robert. How like at the beginning she thought he was hot, but she always remembered, or she always used to think to herself that the wrong man came back from the Trident. And when they were having sex, she would pretend that he was Rhaegar.
Mm-hmm.
And evidently, he was quite abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And in the mornings, he would just pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
And when, like, early on, when she complained that he had hurt her, he just, like, looked ashamed and was like, oh, it wasn't me, it was the wine. And to wash down his admission, he reached for the horn of ale. And she'd gotten so angry that she smashed his face with her own horn of ale, and he chipped a tooth. Which, you know what? It's the least he can pay. But she's like, he did remember what he did to her, though. She could see it in his eyes. He only pretended to forget. It was easier to do than to face his shame. Which, this is a real dark, I mean, honestly, how can you not go insane given these circumstances?
Yeah.
So, I'm with Cersei on this. Probably killing Robert was the best thing she ever did. There you go. That's my take.
Oh my god. That is a dark take.
It's a dark take, but I'm still for it. I don't know.
Huh. I don't know if I'd say killing him was the best thing
Okay,
she
I'm
ever
not
did.
saying in real life kill people, even if they are horrible insurance CEOs. But in a fantasy novel, go ahead. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
really have
begrudge her Robert's death at all.
Yeah, I honestly don't really begrudge the killings she did. Weirdly, because I'm just like, oh, Cersei.
Wait,
Because
did
who
you
did she
say
kill?
killings?
Yeah, because she killed John Aaron, right?
Well, she says she didn't.
Oh, wait, right.
No, Lysa killed John Aaron on behalf of
Yes,
Littlefinger,
yeah,
remember?
yes. It's coming back to me. Okay, wait, who else did Cersei kill? Sorry, I was just going through the list of who was dead.
She talks about... I feel like at some point she talked about killing someone.
Because in my head, she's killed a lot of people.
At Casterly Rock.
Okay.
She was
I don't know.
she arranged Robert's death. That one's for sure. Oh, she recently killed the High Septon. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So
and then she's killed like small people here and there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever held that against her. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, oh my god, she killed Robert. What the fuck? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
This just fucking sucks. I already didn't like Robert, and the more Cersei tells us, I'm like, what the fuck, buddy?
Yeah. Makes you be like, Ned, what the hell, buddy?
Yeah. But I mean, Ned hadn't talked to him in like 13
right.
years, right?
Hmm.
And we don't know, like, you know,
right.
like we don't know if he was always kind of like has he raped women before like this and it just never came up because it was like people that he like paid
right.
off or something. Like, we don't know, right? And
yeah.
I don't think Ned knew either way.
Although I feel like he did think to himself, like, good thing Lyanna didn't marry you, you know?
Yeah.
Or like y'all would have never gotten along or something.
Yeah. It's definitely the thing of like when men like know that they have a friend who sucks, who's capable of really shitty things, but they're like, yeah, but he's my buddy though. Like, it definitely is like some of these tendencies have got to have existed, right? But I guess to Ned it was just like, yeah, but he's like a good guy. Yeah. You know?
He had
but
his,
I don't think that
he on.
Yeah, but I don't think that he, especially like, you know, growing up with people, like, you always are like willing to forgive them more or assume like better in them unless like you get evidence proving otherwise, you know? Like, I feel like he'd be like, yeah, but he's not like them. Like, he would never do something like that, you know?
Right.
Even if there's like signs that he maybe would.
Anyway, horrible, abusive bastard. Glad he's dead. Okay, so this is when they get the knock on the door. And this time it's... Can we just decide on a way to say her name? Can you tell me how you say her name?
Tiana?
No.
Or Felice?
Felice, okay. Because her sister's name is Lawless, so I was trying to like rhyme it with that, Lawless Phallus, but Felice.
Yeah.
Sure, Felice. Is here, and she is basically having a meltdown because her husband has been killed because he challenged Bronn to single combat instead of just arranging a hunting accident like Cersei asked them to do.
This is kind of funny.
It's funny, but it's also just like, how can I don't know.
How did he think that was gonna work? Or...
Yeah,
definitely. That's why it's funny, because it's kind of like it's another type of incompetence where you're just like, how did you? She was like,
and
hey,
you
remove him.
acknowledge that Bronn isn't like a rule follower, and then you still go ahead and do this.
Literally,
like it's really just that foolish gallantry. So
yeah,
Bronn broke. So they went lancing, is that the word? Jousting? Like they went for a joust. That sounds like they went for a weekend, playing tennis.
Yeah. Oh my god.
In the joust, Bronn killed the guy's horse, and then the horse fell on top of the guy, breaking his legs. Mm-hmm. And then Bronn also shoved a knife in the guy's eye to just really drive the point home. And Cersei's like, well, he didn't say anything about me, did he? And it's very obvious that he confessed everything. Mm-hmm. And Cersei's like, oh my god, this is such a headache. Have I not had enough already? Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay, well, don't worry. We'll take care of you. You hang out here and we'll get you some food, and then we can find a way to get you your castle back. Mm-hmm. And so she sends somebody to get some food and stuff, but then she also calls for Qyburn, who arrives promptly. Mm-hmm. And she explains to him the situation and is like, well, she's gotta go and she's gotta stay quiet, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And this is when they have the conversation about, like, she's like, oh, do you still need women for your work? I do, Your Grace. The puppeteers are quite used up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's just like,
oh my god,
handing people to this monster all willy-nilly. This may be one of the most despicable things Cersei has ever done. Killing Robert?
Oh my god.
Who cares? Doing this? Straight to hell. Mm-hmm. Straight to jail.
Yeah.
What was that mean? From Parks and Rec. Is it straight to jail?
I don't know.
Oh my god, you don't know anything because you don't watch anything. Okay. Sorry. I just want somebody who would get all my references, okay?
All right. Yeah, all of the Qyburn stuff is just like, I'm like, I have vomit in my throat, girly, because of you. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and so she sends Phyllis with Qyburn, and they're on their way, and she's like, I'm surrounded by enemies and imbeciles. Mm-hmm. All created by her, by the way. Mostly,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was like, oh my god, you named your kid Tyrion?
That means
now I'm gonna get you killed.
You're harboring Tyrion. And then here she's like, oh, she never truly believed he was harboring the imp. Like, what?
Yeah.
And that was your entire justification for sending him after Bronn. Like,
and now you're like, she just does all these, like, yeah, she's just so petty, bro. Like, ugh.
And then she's like, okay, well, Bronn can enjoy tonight, but he's gonna have his comeuppance. Maybe I'll send Loras to take care of him.
Oh my god.
Like, what?
Oh my god.
The sense make no.
Yeah, Loras is gonna go, like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she, again, has like had another flagon of wine to just as a top up now, and is going back to bed. And she's like, oh, see, I can do all this. Robert would have been too drunk to do it, while she's like swaying side to side and barely like upright.
Oh my god.
It pleased her to think that she made a better king than Robert. So we get a real insight into her head this chapter. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, like, comparing herself to Robert, who, first off, like, not somebody to compare yourself to. Second of all, just, like, getting, not just now, but even when he was alive, getting off on outdoing him, overpowering him in whatever way she can, including by swallowing his thousands of children, as she phrases it.
This was like, what fucking delirium is this? Like, what is this? Which stage of grief is this? Because I don't know.
Sorry, I just have no words for it.
I know, because
Like,
it's just so
The fact that she
fucking
did this
insane.
for years indicates to me that this is like not a new crazy. It's an ongoing crazy, you know? I and I think crazy can be a very ableist term, but in this case it applies, okay?
Yeah, I
think she's actually mentally ill and requires
Yeah.
heavy medication and therapy. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's this thing of like, those tendencies have obviously always been there. Like, I mean, screwing your brother will do that to you. B, like, your twin brother constantly, and like, you're like, this is the only man who's ever pleased me.
Yeah, and he's the closest thing to me, so
yeah, literally all of that.
What did you say me? You called them?
Say me?
You said that would be their ship name.
Yeah. Which is funny because samey. Same-y.
We are that. You're over explaining it now.
Okay, it's fine. But like, so obviously all of these tendencies have always been, and she's been doing like the cum swallowing thing for years, apparently. So all of that. And we always know that she's always had these very narcissistic tendencies, and like her pride grows greater with each passing year, you know?
I love how you reference like chapter 2 every other chapter.
It just sums it up, bro. So, and I feel like it's just like, it just has gotten worse and worse. Like, maybe she definitely was like functional before, but it's just the thing of like not dealing with your problems, and then you just eventually get to this state where you're like, let me just be drunk all the time and try to overpower someone else the way I was.
Yeah,
like,
I guess hurt people, but this is a lot.
This is a lot. This is
so
a lot.
She, like, you know, turns to Merryweather and, without consent, I may say, starts going all at it. And eventually Merryweather wakes up and is like, oh, yes, please, or whatever. And that's fine, but the whole thing with Cersei here, she's like, I'm the queen, I mean to claim my rights. Like, and she's also comparing Taena to Robert, and it's like all about this, like, you know, just, again, that overpowering, the getting off on the powers, the power, the what's the word?
Imbalance,
but just all of it, you know? And she's doing it, but she's not enjoying it herself. We get the term Mirish swamp to explain, to describe Taena's vagina, which is one of those terms that's referred to on the internet as one of the worst terms George R. R. Martin has ever stated, you know?
Right.
There's another one coming up.
Oh no.
And usually they're all sex related. So like the guy does not have a good sex vocabulary is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is when
10,000 of your children perished in my palm. I had to laugh at this part.
Really?
Because I just was like,
I mean, yeah. Yes. It's just so disturbing. And
yeah.
She like, so Merryweather orgasms and she's like, oh, great. Or I don't know if she actually does. Like, she definitely, maybe she's faking it. Maybe it's real. I don't know about that. It's besides the point. But then she's like, oh, here, let me serve you and tell me what you would have of me. And Cersei's just like, get the fuck out of my face. And then she rolls over and goes to sleep and thinks it would be morning soon and all of this would be forgotten. It had never happened. Much like Robert would say to himself about similar situations. So Cersei's turning into Robert? Is that our thesis? Why am I saying? I've been writing too many essays. Thesis is the only word I can think now.
Please. Yeah. This is deeply disturbing.
Right? Yeah. So, I don't even know what predictions to ask for at this point. Okay, Loras. Will he win Dragonstone? Will he die? Will he somewhere in the middle?
He will die at Dragonstone.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually?
Yeah? Why are you so shocked?
Like, this is the first time you've, like, straight up just said, yeah, he's gonna die. Like, you're always so hesitant to make these death predictions.
Well, yeah, he's gonna die.
Okay. So, they're not, the Reach is not gonna get the help that they need. How is that gonna work out with the Ironborn and what we know is going on there?
The Ironborn are gonna go attack Old Town and the Reach and all the places, and it's gonna be bad. Which is really gonna mess up Cersei's alliance with Highgarden. And then she's finally maybe gonna consent to letting the Storm's End people go, but by then it's gonna be too late, and neither thing will have been accomplished.
Yeah. And we didn't at all really hear about how the thing with the church is going, so that's
so that
yet
can't
to
be
come.
Good. Well, who knows that wasn't part of the deal with Euron.
Whose deal with who?
Sorry. Do you remember the Old Town scam drama that was happening?
Like from the prologue of this book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's to say that wasn't set up by Euron as part of his plan, and that wasn't a continuation of the task he'd given Jaqen?
Okay, but I was saying something about the church, and then you just, like, completely derailed it, and now I'm thinking, what does Euron have to do with the church?
Not the...
You see why I'm confused, though?
Yes, okay, sorry, no, I was having my own thought. Wait, what were you saying?
I was just saying that her deal with the church, we haven't seen...
Oh, like the sparrows? Oh,
yeah. We haven't seen what's become of that, so...
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was just having my own conversation
of course
in
you
my
were.
own head.
Okay, lovely, amazing, great. So, glad we're here then. I don't have anything else to say, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
I'm just excited to see where this goes.
Tyrell's extra mad because Renly dead. No, not Renly. Loras dead. Renly already dead.
Okay, why do I feel like...
Bronn.
Okay, I have a prediction before Bronn.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that Loras, for some reason, instead of trying to defeat the guy on Dragonstone, is going to try and defeat the Storm's End stuff instead.
Oh.
Because wasn't that where Renly died?
Sure, but like... Okay, so I guess he's gonna be like, revenge for my love, but... Like, that doesn't... Cersei's deal is, oh, I need Dragonstone to be able to let the fleet go to the Reach.
I thought it was, like, as long as she got either.
I think in this one, she was, like, focused on Dragonstone.
Okay. Never mind then. Okay, wait, because
if they have Dragonstone, then it becomes easier to supply Storm's End, and that's what the fleet is currently doing.
Got it, okay.
I think, you know?
Right. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
All right. Bronn, he's now Lord Stokeworth, apparently.
Yeah. So, like, because he was already gonna be Lord, right?
Well,
but
no.
Like,
Felice was the older daughter, so she would have inherited from her mother.
Oh,
but
okay.
Now he kicked her out. And Lawless is the apparent heir.
Oh my god. Okay.
Also, whenever eventually Cersei's gonna be like, oh, I actually want Stokeworth. Like, I want that back, right? Who is she going to install as the owners if she's now shipped Felice off to Qyburn? Like, no forethought. Okay, we know this. Yeah. I'm just saying the obvious. Let's wrap this up.
Oh my god.
Because... Like, okay, wait. Were you gonna say something about Bronn?
No, I just was like, damn. now,
it.
like, damn, maybe now Tyrion can go to him. Maybe he'd be even more inclined to help.
Okay.
'Cause he's like, I got this shit on my own. The queen ain't shit. Which he already was like, the queen ain't shit, but I do want the lordship, you know?
Right.
But now it's like, is he gonna retaliate? Is he gonna say something? Is he gonna blackmail her? Be like, I'm gonna tell everyone if you don't give me something else. Or is he just gonna leave it alone and be like, I'm the motherfucking lord?
I guess we'll see. Okay. I'm done with this chapter. Let's move on to next chapters.
Okay.
To next time. Give me your hopes and predictions.
Hopefully this will be the first time in a while that I actually get something.
Maybe. We shall see.
I would literally always look at my book and be like, damn, I haven't been right in so long. Anyway.
And yet no thoughts occurred behind those eyes.
Well, because I was like, they'll show up later. I just have to keep going for it. It was the relentless like, if anyone ever questions my optimism, I will just
point them to the
to
podcast. Yeah.
Yes, because it just I don't even think about it. It just happens. I'm not like, oh yeah, I wish. I do wish. Anyway, okay. So now we are gonna see Jaime and no, we're gonna see Sansa and Arya.
Okay, interesting. Well, so we're reading chapters 33 and 34 next time. Mm-hmm. Chapter 33 is Jaime. Should have said it.
I was gonna say it, and then I didn't. Okay, well, that's okay.
So last time we saw, he had just spoken to Lancel. Was on his, journey to Riverrun ultimately.
Ooh, I think he's gonna send a strongly worded letter to Cersei. I'm joking. I think he's
still waiting on that one from Jon, I think.
Yeah. He'll send it in the
or
fifth
to
book,
Jon
guys.
Rather, from Sam.
Right. Yes. I think. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. He's on his way to Riverrun.
Can you stop with the yawn talking?
He's on his way to Riverrun. We'll see, but I think he'll keep trying to like get away. Like he might. Would it be too far to try and go talk to Kevin or something? Or like
yeah, Kevin's like back in the Westerlands now.
So maybe he'll send a letter to Kevin like, "Hey, can you please get your kid on board?"
Well, Lancel was leaving like the next day to go to King's Landing to join the Sparrows.
Oh, so there's not really much time. Maybe he'll like find out through rumors and stuff that like Loras is on his way, and then he might be like, before going to Riverrun, I gotta go back and stop Loras, but that wouldn't work by the time he gets back. I'm just trying to think what else he could do to avoid going to Riverrun, because you know how he wanted to avoid it for as long as possible?
Right.
But he might just have to go, because I can't really think of much else.
He might go camping.
He might go camping, just willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unplug, get away from all of it.
Right, yes. Yeah, I think he'll slowly be making his way to Riverrun, but trying to think of ways that he doesn't have to actually do anything. I honestly think he might just go in and be like, hey, I come not being violent.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sure. Well, then chapter 34.
Oh my god, he's gonna encounter an outlaw band, and it's gonna be bad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Chapter 34 is Cat.
Oh, wait.
Of the Canals.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
It's actually called Cat of the Canals. I just wanted to see that look on your face when I just said cat. I'm sorry, nobody could see it, but I saw it and I enjoyed it.
Oh my god. I just needed a second to remember that she was now going to be called Cat. I was like, what did you just say to me?
You totally thought Catelyn for a second, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. For a second, I was like, wait. How? Like, I was trying to figure out the logistics. Like, how can a zombie have thoughts? Okay,
that is very anti-zombie of you.
What? It's a freaking zombie. How's a zombie gonna be like, like very like.
Well, we've had chapters from the perspectives of wolves before, so like.
Yeah, but that's different. That's the human in the wolf.
We're arguing unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I'm annoyed, okay? I need to pee, so just talk.
Okay. Arya is oh yeah, she just met Sam. Sam isn't on his way yet. So maybe we'll hear about that. She'll be like, should I ask him about Jon? Oh my god. Maybe she'll help Sam some more, right? Because they weren't able to leave yet.
Well, Sam did run into a sailor at the end of his last chapter.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe Arya will go see him again. Who knows?
Okay.
Or we'll just see her new life, like how her day-to-day is. Maybe she'll meet someone at the trading center and we'll be like, oh my god, that person knows Dany, or like that person met Rob back in the day.
Okay.
You know?
Cool. Alright, that's everything. We don't have any emails. Sad. But that's okay. We'll have some next time. Optimism. So send us emails. Our email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram @popculturesymposium. And, of course, join the Discord and talk to people. Doesn't have to be us. Can be other people. But it can also be us. Have I said everything? Okay, great. Amazing. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.